Alright, the next thing you need to know about are beds. Beds in Italy are going to be quite different from the ones that we have here in the West. Beds in Italy are usually a small twin-size spring mattress with a thin layer of cloth on top, and they're generally very uncomfortable, and you also won't find any king-size or queen-size beds like you do in the West. So keep that in mind. If you are somebody who has back problems or you're someone who needs a comfortable bed, you might have to have one imported to Italy, or you might have to bring one with you somehow. And I don't think that they allow mattresses on planes. The next thing you need to know is that most houses and apartments in Italy won't have very good heating and cooling systems. In the summertime, it can get incredibly hot, and most houses and apartments won't even have an AC of any form. In the fall and winter time, it can get extremely cold. However, most of them do come with a water heater, but those don't heat houses very well, and just expect to be pretty cold on those winter nights, and make sure that you buy plenty of blankets. And blankets can be a bit difficult to find here, so just always keep an eye out for that. Okay, the next thing you need to know is that if you are going to come here to teach English, make sure that you can speak a little bit of Italian. Make sure that you can speak the basics. You don't need to know any complex words, just basic words that you would need for communication. So, this may sound easy enough, but you would be surprised at just how many people won't understand you when you speak Italian. This is due to the accent. If you're coming from America, you'll have the accent, of course, and you won't be pronouncing everything correctly, and you might not be speaking loud enough. So make sure that when you are speaking Italian, that you are speaking in the Italian accent, if you can, and also that you are pronouncing all the words correctly. And lastly, that you're speaking very loud. Most people in Italy speak extremely loud, so if you don't speak on the same level as them, they might not always understand you or take you seriously. Now, of course, once you're living in Italy, you might think that it's going to be easy to learn Italian. But it's not as easy as you think. It can be easy, however, if you make sure that you practice often and that you're always asking questions. I made the mistake when I was living there to not ask questions and to not practice as much as I should. So I would recommend calling your Italian friends, if you have any, and just talk their ears off. Just get that practice and make sure that you're always asking questions. And tell your Italian friends that if you make any mistakes while speaking to them, that they let you know. The next thing you need to know about is the train and bus system. When I was living in Italy, I mostly used trains. And this is because trains are the most convenient form of transportation. For two reasons. It will be cheaper than a bus, and also the trains go mostly everywhere in Italy, and Europe as well. I have had no problem with the train system. However, if you're living in the south of Italy, the trains will usually be a few minutes late. So make sure that you leave just a little bit earlier every day so that you can get to your job on time. So, just to be safe, make sure you're always taking the train that leaves sooner. Keep in mind that being on time for something here in Italy is very important. If you are late, that is usually a big insult to the other person, even though everybody is always late. Alright, the next thing that you need to know about are hygiene products. Hygiene products such as toothpaste, soap, and deodorant can be a bit more difficult to find, and they can also be a bit more expensive if you're coming from the West. So keep that in mind. People here generally aren't as fixated with being clean as people are in the West. Some people might just take a shower once every 2 days or just a few times a week because water here is also a bit more expensive. Now, the next thing that you need to know about isn't really a huge one, but it's still important. If you're coming from the West, you'll find that the service here might not be as good as where you're coming from. Most workers in restaurants don't get paid tips like most waiters do in America, so expect to have to be a bit more assertive and to have to be a bit more persistent to get what you want in a restaurant. Don't be surprised if your meal or your bill takes a half hour or an hour just to get to you if you don't say anything. But if you're persistent, like I said, and now I'm going to cover things that you might not like. So the two main things I can think of that some people might not like are that there are not always normal toilets here. Sometimes there are just squat toilets, so that can be a discomfort. And also, smoking is very big here. Mostly everyone smokes. In Italy, I would say that maybe 20% of the whole population doesn't smoke. Alright, next can you tell us what are some common jobs for English-speaking foreigners?
Well, some common jobs would be in a school, in a language school. Being a mother tongue English spoken would be very desirable. And also as a touristic guide, to show on the monuments and historical sites, it would be probably an easy job to find. Or in a naval base, they have those bases and they have American schools. If you have a teaching degrees, you can find easily a job as a teacher in a school in Italy.
Okay, great. And can you tell us which jobs there would be the highest paying for somebody who is just starting out, just moving there?
Well, like I said, there would be a hard answer for me to answer. Probably, I would say a teaching job or a language school.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
possibly, yes.
Alright, now we're just going to ask, what are some tips you would give to somebody who is trying to learn Italian as quick as possible?
Well, just probably full immersion. Try not to speak any English with anybody, just try to maybe attend a school and where you can learn at least some Italian and basic Italian, and mostly try to really talk to only to Italian people and never speak English.
Okay.
That's the most, it's probably you will need at least a couple of months of full immersion and no English whatsoever. And yeah, following probably movies, and yeah, that's the best way.
Alright. Well, great. Thank you very much for answering those questions.
Sure, you're welcome.
Alright, that's it for this video. If you did enjoy and there was anything here that was helpful for you, please give this video a like and also subscribe, as it really helps me out. Anyways, I'll see you guys again soon.